So same thing here. I'm going to do the evens for you. And then this time there is no go formative because the equations are so tricky. So you're going to go ahead and do the odds either on a separate piece of paper. You can print this out and then turn it in. So anyhow, it gives me a center of 5 and negative 13. So I'm going to do x minus 5, the opposite value, squared, plus y plus 13, the opposite value squared. And my radius is 11. So I'm going to go ahead and square my radius. Which is going to be 121. Right, if you're a little perplexed, that's because you might not have been there for the equation of a circle, which is x plus h squared plus y plus k squared equals your radius squared. And that's what I'm using. So I'm doing all the evens. Here's 2, here's 4. So I'm going to do x, the opposite, plus 8 squared. And then it's a y is 0, so just plus y squared equals my radius, which they gave me my diameter, so my radius would be 2.5. So I'm going to square 2.5, and I'm going to get 6.25 for my radius. And then number 6, all right, well, my center, it's going to be x minus 12, because it was a positive 12 squared, plus y plus 1 squared. Negative 1 becomes opposite positive 1 equals my radius squared. Well, rad 209 squared is going to be just 209. Okay, so now let's look at this one. I'm going to find my center, and if I count over, I see that my center is equal to negative 3 and a positive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a positive 6. In my radius, I go ahead and I count from my center over to the side of my circle in any direction, and I get that my radius is 2. So I'm just going to plug that into my equation. Whoops, I'm doing the wrong one here. All right, so back over here, my center is 0, negative 2, and my radius as I count over is equal to 6. So I'm going to plug that in. It's 0, so I'm simply going to just write x squared plus y plus 2 squared equals my radius squared, which is 36. All right, so this time they give me my center, which is great, and a point on the circle. So this is where I'm going to have to use the distance formula to figure out what my radius is. So my radius, number 10. Same thing. My radius is going to be equal to the square root of negative 9 minus 11 squared plus negative 3 minus 2 squared, which will give me the square root of 4 plus 25 and the square root of 29. So my radius is equal to rad 29. I plug that into the equation and I get x plus 9 in parentheses squared plus y plus 3 in parentheses squared equals rad 29 squared, which is 29. And there's my equation of the circle. Okay, so number 12. Same thing again. They give me the center and a point on the circle. So I'm going to use the distance formula. And I get my radius is equal to the square root of 8 minus 14 squared plus 2 plus 1 squared, which is going to be the square root of 36 plus 9, which is rad 45. And yes, we can simplify that, but we aren't going to. So I'm going to just go ahead and plug that in with my center to the equation of a circle. So x minus 8 squared plus y minus 2 squared equals, well, my radius squared would be rad 45, which squared is 45. See, no. All right, so number 12. Sorry, I have children trying to barge in right now. I have my center and I have my circumference. Well, remember your circumference is equal to, there's two ways to write it, your diameter times pi or 2 pi r. Well, we want our radius, so we're going to take this 25, which is technically our diameter, and we're going to divide it by 2. So 25 divided by 2, and we're going to get 12.5. Okay, so there's my radius. And I'm going to use my center and plug it in for the equation of a circle. Okay, so x squared plus y plus 1 squared equals my radius, 12.5 squared, which is 156.25. All right, and then number 16, my center is is negative 6 and 2, and my area is simply pi, which remember area is pi times your radius squared. Well, if there isn't a number here, remember you guys that there's technically a little 1. And if we wanted to figure out what that radius is, our radius would be equal to the square root of 1, which is simply 1. So we know that our radius is 1, and we know that our center is negative 6, too. So we're going to do x plus 6 squared plus y minus 2 squared equals 1, because 1 squared is simply 1. Now we're going to work backwards. So we're going to find our center. So it's going to be the opposite of what we see here, which is going to be a negative 1 and a positive 1. And it's asking for our diameter. So we need to be really careful here. Well, this is our radius squared. So we're going to take the square root and we're going to get 14. And that's your radius, right? But your radius is only half your diameter. So to find your diameter, you need to double it, which means our diameter would be 28. Okay, and now we look at our center, and it's a positive 2 and a negative 13. And then our radius this is our radius squared. We can just take the square root, so we'll just say the square root of 150. And it's okay to leave your answer like that. 21, we did a practice problem like this in the notes. It was pretty tricky, right? You had to do midpoint and then distance. So see if you can do that on your own. All right, guys, hope this helps with your homework, and come to office hours. If you have questions or email me, anything, just talk to me. Okay, bye.